Right, so MacDara, we're reading Pádraig Brannach's Gróga Cloch, a novel about MacDara growing up. What happens to MacDara? So we finished off on this is the third page 7. Gort of the first paragraph. Gorcher Vruch Nahowen. So he went down the. Yes, he's talking about going down to the river. When MacDara onid Feluna Komach on the row Rark Jazz. So the Rark Jazz from. He's looking now at the Easchery in the Yowan. There's one Easkera down there, and he's interesting that he'd find just the right spot, the onid Felunach, from which to look the best site of this fella. He's interested in his Kuran Tiskura Fui Gasa. Why was he so Fui Gasa? Why did this Iskura put this Gasa on MacDara? Because he's got bootish, the fella, he's a young fella, and he's looking at the fishing supplies this fella has, and he doesn't have, like the bootashi, mora ruber, the brishti chomale bootashi, and these pants brishti bootashi, they come up and neas to his vasta, to his kroga or his kromon, vishe go kroga, he was up to the up to his hips in the kromon, his waist in the water of the river, this iskra that MacDara is looking on. Amata niba na shinan. So sometimes it wouldn't be as deep as it was there then. Vi gaulog fada wadja. And this gaulog is like a fork. It's a long forking oar in the belt of his back, a rimme ege, of this iskra, agus harshe, and it's stuck in the back at the bottom of and he would harshe, the iskra would, into the base of the river, bunna in lesh an vaidje, nur hastiachwaye, when he needed to hastiachwaye kushiacht, or shul de kush, when he'd need to take a footstep, a yama. Cormac dar suntis achrish avi ege. He was interested in suntis, cor suntis. MacDara is putting the suntis, this sort of distinctive interest in this Chris aro egan far. So shaked e the avier on the bratog that he was wearing as well, the shaked. So cabin or capin erakian. Harain kyo ella, above any other fog or bit of whatever interest of, however, Korshe Suntis, Kor MacDara Suntis, so Tlat Iski. So it's the Tlat Iski that interests him the most, the Viege in a Voch Iskarachte. So it's just the way he was fishing Iskarachte as well. Kor Slat Iskarachte, this is the fishing pole, Slat, an Iskara Driacht, of the Iskara Driacht, magic, like the Gasa before. We looked at that word Gasa, Fui Gasa, Fui Gasa, Fui Driacht, Korsla Driacht Ervachtara, Da Unye avi Orhe. So it's a fresh bit of stick. It's made of green wood, Da Unye, or color of green or glass, Unye. I the slat ho solube, so ho solube, flexible, a scallop sally. It's it's like a splinter of sally wood or willow wood, or a kind of how would you say, instead of splinter you'd have a sense of scallop. You could say an ang in a Jewish. It's like a bit of like a loop in your at the immel or the kolog or the schlishne, like a slice or a scullop sally. Schlish, that's a good word, scullop for slice. Ba os more supaidze. It was grown so big and supaidze or solube. This sally stick was that it korachje kivne de yine. And people knew it for they would put remembrance on this particular wood for this quality, that it was so saluba and supalte. A barcho ti kiltani shin garoshe shilul. So it's kiltani, so it's very thin wood, and it's a forever sheer lul, or movement, or soluba, or Súpáilte, scarcha amach they fad in the slatse vi sulini. So sulini are like little eyes, so there's little loops of metal that the shrangan will go through, and all along the slate, they fad in the slatse, were these little sulini, and they triner kurach and doru. So you put through these sulini, these little eyes, the doru or the shrangan. It's like a cord. A maid ag dul leid the rare mar hin shiad, and they would stretch to the Rhine, to the tip, the rin, the birine, on Tulin ba Luerfad, and the one that was the smallest, Sulin Vyog Hualkach, is very appropriate, very excellent in its quality. This little one, Marhulin Vuli, as at the tip of the Rhine, of the Rin, of the Slat, was at the Mully, was this little eye. So he loves this fishing pole. He's just fuidreacht. I'm thinking about it. Cor MacDara space or suntas or sim har na barta agus dul sa doi, and he had more than just this, the equipment. The barta was the duel in the way. He had this sort of like eagerness of observing the doi, the way that the iskara was using the cord, the doru, a heligan, the way he was heligane, the way he was kahave amach, casting it out into the river. Vina slata doru amui ege, and the cord of the slat was away from him. So he's holding on to the fac of the slatze, and he's with his two hands, Ralav. Dardiach abar gareno. So he would raise it up high, that it was garoshi gama askyon ishke, that was well above the water, askyon ishke. Agus in shin le kasu tobin, then he would turn suddenly, the rusty, to his with his wrists, his bunrihe, the andoru gahartsener, and the cord was very high in the air, a grada lashir, and he would boole, or he would hit it with the back. Kolni bjoglov, flip stup da rusty chantossi, and with the flip of his wrists, and hui andoru, and it went the cord kunkin forward a reach point, again on the point. So he's really studying the doi of the iskara, avi egan iskira. The doi is all of that casting and all of the way he did it. The rare mar kroch antishke andoru, the way he hung the doru, lesh rinna antiskara tille doru a ligin on rochline. So then he would let more cord, let more of it from the rith line, which is the reel of the iskerach and slat iskerach, iskerach. Chin MacDara rolling arde. So he taught to go arde higher, gran in the limbs of the tree, rego mech lergo, so that he could make observation or critical appreciation, needs far better, agus needs fadde ege. So he wanted both better and further to observe. Yasishe, so he sokrahe, korushe, glacishe, so he fixed himself ishtach in naul, in the fork, agrim, his back dangin, or locked in or fortified with the kuli. The kula is the pole, gri and krin. So it's a very flexible or strong kulya, sekren or pole. Kula mole, no mole hul. Scared gaul nyeg, and it was a cut gaul fork in the branch, in the limb of the tree. But Quilline Brege, he's looking at the Bartha Iskaracht still. He's looking now not at the pole, but at the fake flies, or the that are buite or bait. Vi mar buite egan iskara. By the vi gonier in the iskara maha. So the Iskari Maha, the good fishermen, they always have this type of fake flies, but peshtiche, peshtichi avi marvite egoni ege hen egg MacDara. He usually just has worms. But while less, he would like Kilvreg ave ege. He wanted these fake flies. He was envious of them. The iskri morosha vi boski lan kulina akko. So he's thinking about these big fishermen and how there were boxes filled with such quillina breg or flies at them. Chile yeshaku, and they had every opportunity with them to back na desha vi egehen. And vi hata bredin, this is a called bean braiding. It's made of tweed. So braiding is tweed. On vir brakahe. So the tweed hat of the Komadi on Kongovoid, the keeper of the grounds, the Stuart Hoare, he had flies in this call bean at him, a row on illa yach orhu, and they had every color, these fake flies. Heel MacDara gur hug on hatisha Gonna Killine and Gradam Dunveer. And he thought that this gave the hat, that gave this hat gave the mere Gradam prize, a sort of dignity. By Yinna Tawachtache, he was a very important man. By Yinna Tawachtache. Ba, and I will end it here. By Yinna Usale. So we'll take up from here. Yeah, we read in Irish, talk in Irish. Lei mish in leidge, mara vechmoidig den of gohyundul chile ihe in nekke chile ihe line urban gael tacht be falche morgi a veilin. Gurmil mahagi, slan.